Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us. Welcome back, and delighted to have with us in the studio today Jennifer Mylenek, is that right? Forgive me.
Very good.
Executive Director of CASA, C-A-S-A of Jackson County, and they do a wonderful service in our community. But we want to talk about a big topic and an event. You got the Kentucky Derby fundraising event coming up. I want to get into that, but you also want to deal with the subject of child abuse. Wow. Wow. Where do we go with this? How big is this problem in Southern Oregon?
Well, in Jackson County, it's bigger than most people realize. Last year, 2014, there were 700 children with founded cases of abuse and neglect. The year started already with 300 children in care. And you have to remember, those are the cases that are founded. Yeah. And it's pretty difficult to justify opening a case of child abuse and neglect. So there's probably a lot more kids out there.
All right, so what is CASA and how do you address this issue?
CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates, and we have an amazing core of volunteers who become each child's advocate while they go through this process. CASA's advise the court as to the child's current safety, what their needs are, if they're medical or educational needs, and they make sure the court knows the whole story of what's going on for that child so they can get to permanency and safety quickly.
I can't imagine some of the stories you've heard and seen. This got to be a real traumatic time for a child. So how do you comfort the child and yet get the information you need?
You know what's interesting is the children almost right away, if they're old enough, recognize that the CASA is the only unpaid person to walk in the door and be there for them.
Really?
Because there's lots of people in their lives at this time, but they're all paid to be there. Not that their intentions aren't great, but they are all paid to be there and they have other cases that they're managing. The CASA's only focus is that child, and they do a wonderful job of getting to know the child and gaining the child's trust.
Now, you obviously train a lot for the people that work there, but one of the tough decisions that have to be made is, you know, this child isn't safe here.
Yes.
So what do you do? If
we feel a child is not safe in a placement, we call a review hearing, we call the courts, we call child welfare, we may even call law enforcement. So we make sure that that child is safe. And most of the time, once they're removed from their parents, most of the time they are safe. It's whether or not the parents can go through substance abuse recovery and regain custody of their children. That's where we're really looking closely. Has the parent really done what they need to do? Is this the right solution for this child to go home or not?
Wow, tough decisions. The Kentucky Derby fundraising event.
Yes.
How can we help you with that?
Well, we just want people to know that we are fundraising all the time.
Yeah. We all?
Yes, everybody is, and the community is wonderful here. They do support the work that we do, and the Kentucky Derby is one of our events this Saturday. Afternoon event, and everybody's wearing hats.
Oh, of course,
yeah.
Yes. Where is it?
It's at the Rogue Valley Country Club.
Okay.
It starts at 12:30.
Okay.
It's $75 a ticket. There's lots of food, lots of activities, lots of funny money, horse race betting.
Why not? Yeah. Well, and all this goes to help you guys do, and yet you work with a volunteer staff. I mean, this is kind of interesting how this all functions.
Yes, we had in 2014 about 180 or so volunteer CASAs. We have a staff of 9. There's a lot of court documentation, discovery, navigation, compliance. It's complicated work, but every time a CASA joins us and goes through training, they're assigned another CASA called a peer coordinator to help them, to walk alongside of them, to get through that, certainly that initial difficulty of understanding everything that's going on.
Yeah, I would imagine it's real eye-opening at the beginning. So quite a bit of training goes on, right?
Yes, 40 hours of core training, and then CASAs complete an additional 12 hours a year of in-service training.
Do you need more volunteers?
We do. We always do. We need probably 100 more volunteers.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, I understand the need, but why you need it's the problem, I guess.
It is a problem, and there's a lot of wonderful organizations here working on prevention, But even with their efforts towards prevention of children coming into this child welfare system, the numbers are still growing.
Do you work under a umbrella of confidentiality?
Yes.
All right, so if a child tells you something, can the court force that out of you?
We always let the child know that if they disclose something to us, we cannot keep it a secret.
Okay.
And and sometimes that happens. The child is removed maybe because the parents are doing drugs, and then a month later the child discloses additional abuse to the CASA, and the CASA must report that. And we want to make sure the child gets help.
Well, thank God you're there. What happens when a child is removed? Will the child ever go back to that situation?
Mm-hmm. Yes, if the parents, lots of the cases for removal here are due to substance abuse, so the children are being neglected.
Oh, okay.
And if the parents lots of these parents have not been parented well themselves. This is second, third generation or more. And if the parents are willing and want to be good parents and want to recover, there's programs for them to go into where they can even live with their children while they're in, close proximity to counselors and things like that. So they can go through recovery and remain a family or get their children back. And when that happens, it's terrific. And when that happens, if there's a CASA, the CASA is the parent's cheerleader too.
That's wonderful. How has this changed you?
Oh my goodness, it's the calling of my life. I worked in the financial industry for many years, and I used to go home at night and say, who have I helped, really? Have I saved a life? Have I done anything? And coming to CASA, the journey that I went through to come to CASA has made the difference in my life. We can't help everybody, but I know every day that I go to work, I've helped somebody, somehow.
What a ministry.
It is. It is.
I mean, that's basically, you're doing God's work.
Yeah, without him, none of this would be happening, I have to tell you.
Yeah, I can't, as a lay counselor, I've heard enough to know that I would never know what you guys know and experience, but the need is that great. And you're talking how many cases a year?
We served almost 600 children last year, and we only served 60% of the total children that were there and could have had a CASA.
And those are the ones you know of.
And those are the ones we know of,
that have been reported.
There's lots of times child welfare will go out multiple times on calls to a family and not be able to see any evidence of the abuse or the neglect. And yet they know it's happening. But without that evidence, they can't open a case.
Wow. How do the children receive treatment? Let's say they're there now, they're under your care, or at least under your auspices. How do you get them help?
Well, we look to see what do they need. It's until you get to know a child, you're not really sure, what does this child need? Sometimes they're delayed in school because they haven't been to school. The parent hasn't taken them to school. So the CASA's in the school right away, working with an IEP, making sure that they understand that school can be a great place to go and it can be a fun experience. Sometimes we know the child needs a certain type of counseling or therapy, and we make sure they get it. These children most always need dental help, and the CASA is the one who's going to sit on the phone until the dentist makes an appointment, because under the Oregon Health Plan, or whatever they call it these days, that can be pretty arduous.
Well, I want to encourage you, if you feel tugged like a lot of people are in this area and looking for something to do and get trained in, you may want to get a hold of Jennifer in that area. But you can go to Jackson County CASA, CASA.org, probably the best way to connect. But let me encourage you to go to the Kentucky Derby fundraising event this weekend. It'll be Saturday at the Country Club. Starts at noon, you say?
Starts at 12:30.
12:30. $75 for a ticket. All of this is going to go to help this program. I can't say enough. I've talked to some of your volunteers in the past, and some of the stories limited what they obviously can say. But more importantly is the level of the problem in Jackson County. I mean, when you're talking 600 cases plus, in Jackson County a year. No wonder we have people like Hearts with a Mission and things like that, because it's a real issue.
It is a real issue. And thank goodness we have these organizations. All of us, we're like an ecosystem here.
Yeah, right.
We all work together, and we can't lose, not one of us can go away, because there'll be a big crack if we do.
Wow. Jennifer, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, again, Jackson County, CASA.org, Jackson County CASA.org, or more, is that where they get a ticket too?
They can, yes.
Or call you, is that easier? Or
yes,
what?
or 734 CASA.
Okay, 724 CASA.
734.
Oh, 734, I'm sorry, 734 CASA, and get a ticket for the Kentucky Derby fundraiser this weekend. Thank you, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you very
Blessings
much.
on you and your entire staff.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back.